Hey guys, and welcome to the DIY Fixes channel. Today we're going to unbox and review this electrical repair toolkit right here. I figured out it's a great idea to have this kit because I'm about to do some DIY electrical repair and DIY automotive repair stuff at home, and I figured out it's a great idea to have this kit compared to buying accessories bit by bit from the shop. It turns out to be a lot more expensive to buy stuff bit by bit, item by item, compared to getting this kit as a wholesome. Right, so the kit is actually pretty lightweight at around 784 grams, allowing you to carry it from place to place conveniently and with no problem. So whether you are a DIY fixing guy or you're a professional electrician, I think this is a great accessory to have. All right, so it's made out of black resin leather on the surface, nicely built, right? Easy to clean, easy to wipe off, and has this good contrasting orange stitch made of cloth on the edges. All right, on the other end it has a carrying harness right here, allowing you to carry it from place to place from time to time, conveniently with no problem. Right, opening the zip exposes this wide range of electrical fixing accessories that you will find quite useful, especially if you're a professional electrician. I strongly recommend you having this kit. Or even if you're a DIY fixing guy at home, I think this thing will be pretty useful in a wide range of functionalities as we are going to see. Okay. So one of the noticeable accessories straight out of the box is this digital multimeter right here. It's a digital A830L model, right? Fully powered straight out of the box with a 9-volt rechargeable battery, allowing you to test a wide range of functionalities. Okay, for me, I think this doesn't make sense. Okay, but for now, because I don't know how to use a multimeter, but in future and for professional electricians, I think they know how to use this thing. Okay, so it's a great thing to have. Comes full with these testing prongs right here. Okay, another important accessory is this soldering iron right here. It feels pretty well built, nicely built, complete with a fuse, a 13 ampere fuse. The electrical wire feels nice and solid, especially when compared to off-shelf accessories such as this alternative right here that feels quite cheap. This is wooden. This is a tiny thin wire that is highly likely to melt as a result of carrying lots of voltage and lots of current. Okay, so compared to that, this feels nicely built. It's multifunctional, as I'm going to show you. Actually, it allows you to use 220 volts. It's a 60-watt soldering iron. Another great functionality of this tool is that it allows you to adjust the soldering temperature. Let me get that right for you. So you can adjust the temperature all the way from the lowest setting, which is 200 degrees Celsius, all the way up to 450 degrees Celsius. So if you have a rosin activated core wire that requires a specific soldering temperature, you can go ahead and adjust that. I think that is pretty useful. Okay, another great thing is that you can actually change the soldering bit by opening up this soldering bit housing right here and changing this bit. So whether you need a different soldering bit altogether, or you need to repair it and remove this bit because it's damaged or for one reason or another, you can remove the bit, replace it with another bit, and there you go. So I figured out that's a great feature to have, especially since the kit also comes with an extra 5 soldering bits or tips that I'm going to show you in a short while how they're used. Okay, so that's a great thing to have. Another accessory is this desoldering tool right here. It's used to extract solder from your PCB or soldering surface. So let's say, for example, you want to melt solder that has been previously welded in place, and you need to extract that solder from the PCB board or from the surface. How you do that is that you push in this plunger that creates a high tension thanks to the spring on the inside, and when you press this piston right here, it creates a vacuum and it rapidly extracts the solder from the surface. Okay, so instead of wiping up solder from the PCB surface when soldering, which is actually doesn't work because solder doesn't, soak in any material. This is a great tool to extract. So you press it in, place it on the surface that you need the solder to be extracted, push the plunger, create a vacuum, and then you got your solder right here. Then you can discard it on another surface. Okay. So another thing is this flathead screwdriver that also doubles as a voltage tester or current tester. The flathead surface allows you to unscrew switch and socket screws when removing and replacing switches and sockets. It also allows you to accurately test presence of currents or voltage on lines. All right. So compared to the ordinary electrical testers, this one feels nicely built, doesn't snap, especially since the most of the off-shelf voltage testers normally snap right here, but this one feels nicely built, well insulated. Okay, that's a great piece to have, especially since it comes in a kit like this one. Okay, another thing is this soldering iron holder. How this works is that you place it on the surface, right? Your soldering iron bit is hot. You don't want to place it anywhere. It's going to burn your surface. So how that works is that you place it right inside here, holds the soldering iron in place and keeps it from, touching the surface, just like that. Okay, like a professional. Right, another accessory in the kit is this uh, rosin activated core wire. This is a 6040 alloy soldering iron, 1 millimeter in diameter, so pretty useful. And the good thing with this is that you can unscrew this cap, remove your solder, and uncoil it, then pass it through this hole and then screw the cap in place. That allows you to keep organized. Okay, so in case you solder and you need access to more wire, just pull this one out. That keeps you organized well enough. Okay, so in case you need to add some more soldering wire, you can just coil it on another surface and then place it inside here. That keeps you well organized. All right, another piece is this knife, pretty useful, especially when it comes to de-insulating your wires when soldering or cutting stuff. The good thing with this is that should the tip get blunt, you can actually uh, break this off. That gives you access to the next tip and so on and so forth. I think there are a total of 10 tips. And when this actually soldering blade is fully used up, you can remove this one up, extract the blade and replace this blade so as to keep, using your knife. Right, that's a great thing to have in your kit. So finally, we have these tiny bits of, cutters right here. This allows you to cut your wires quite handy, especially small wires. In terms of big wires, this will not allow you to cut them, especially since the, opening angle is quite limited. So it's pretty sharp, cuts wires straight up, right? Quite useful. So another thing is this de-insulating accessory or tool. I think we're going to use it from time to time. I'm going to show you how it works in the future project. So another thing, these tweezers right here. This metallic allows you to, pick tiny screws, pick tiny soldering bits when you're doing your soldering work and so on and so forth. So they come in this straight profile as well as this uh, angled profile for various functions. Okay, so needless to say, there's a soldering sponge, pretty useful, especially if you're a professional, soldering guy. They come in handy, especially when it comes to wiping off the tips of your soldering iron to free up any, extra solder on the surface of the soldering tip. Okay, so there we go, guys. I think we're going to use this kit from time to time. Please stay in touch. This was just a teaser, episode. More DIY stuff is coming. We're going to get into our car fixing DIY project quite soon, I think this week. So stay tuned, kindly subscribe, leave your comments in the comment section below. I'll be sure to reply to each one of them. So in case you need to get this tip, this kit, I'm going to leave a link in the description below where you can actually get it from. It's pretty cheap, quite useful. You find it useful, I find it useful, and let's get fixing stuff the DIY style.